If you're an artist looking for somewhere to sell your NFTs, Genesis Auction House is definitely a place to check out. In this interview, Stevie goes through the entire auction process, how it works, the user experience, as well as some really cool features that they're developing and building out in the future. So I'm really looking forward to this one. If you like this type of content, please make sure you give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, and click the notification bell, and hear more from me real soon. Let's get into this interview.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast.
I have Stevie joining me from Genesis House on this interview to talk all about their marketplace that they've built on Cardano, their CNFT Marketplace, where you can buy and sell all sorts of NFTs in the Cardano ecosystem. Stevie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So let's start off with a little bit of background about yourself, how you got into crypto and then how you discovered Cardano.
Yeah, so I guess I have been in crypto for quite a bit. I think back in like maybe 2010-ish.
Whoa,
maybe a little bit.
Early adopter.
Yeah, maybe a few. I'm not sure. That it was a long time ago, so it could be 2 years plus or 1 year minus. But I remember just like learning about it, and I used to have this big interest in cryptography overall, but to me it just kind of made sense, the idea that you can transact online or through technology, and so it really caught my eye, but I didn't really get into it until I realized that there was a developer kind of ecosystem around it that could be made, obviously with Ethereum. And that got me really intrigued because I was obviously studying to become an engineer at that point. As far as Cardano becoming really intriguing to me was, I think it first like stuck in my mind because I studied functional programming for quite a while. Our university curriculum in particular like starts us off in Haskell. If you take kind of the honors courses, or even if you don't take the honors courses, you start up on a like scheme-based kind of functional language, and just thinking about like the implications of cryptocurrency and the risks that its uses have, it just kind of struck me that this is like a great use case for functional programming. If you have a safe language, and if you can minimize side effects, that it could be really, really something really great. So that's how it caught my eye. And as I kind of kept diving in, I just realized, there's a lot of things that can be done in cryptocurrency overall, but on Cardano especially.
So what year about was this that you were studying functional programming and then like diving into Cardano?
Oh, I hadn't dove into Cardano for a while past that, but I was studying functional programming from like 2013-ish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then I think Cardano did catch my eye probably 2 years after or so, and then but never really thought of myself as like developing in the blockchain space until fairly recently.
Yeah, great. Okay, so did you go through like the Plutus Pioneer program or something to get your head around Plutus, or did you literally just dive in?
I did a little bit of both, but mostly through the Plutus Pioneers program. I picked up an old book that everybody owns if you're in an FP, which is Learn Yo Haskell, and then also went back, so brushed up the Haskell skills, and then took a couple of the course, watched some of the videos from Lars on the Plutus Pioneers program, which was super helpful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But that's all been very, very recent. So I'm still a newcomer to this space as well.
So you managed to get this Genesis House, this marketplace, up and running really quickly then. So just from your background, and then developing and putting this all together. So what is Genesis House in a nutshell?
Yeah, so we are a Cardano-focused NFT marketplace. And we have smart contracts, so we're smart contract powered. We just recently became the largest in terms of listings with smart contracts. I mean, total number of listings on the marketplace with smart contracts. And Yeah, I think the one thing that really differentiates us is that we are seriously focused on backing the creators. It's our number one priority, and it's kind of what also got me into the NFT space in particular was just thinking about all these creators and the awesome opportunities that there are in this space. I frequently get told by the artists that I talk to on a daily basis that they're just like, holy crap, I cannot believe I'm making money with this passion of mine that I've been working on for so long, right? And I know that that's a struggle for like some very talented artists. So I think this is super cool and something that Genesis House I think is different slightly because we're seriously trying to help these creators make a business.
It's so strange, isn't it? It is a passion for a lot of these artists that usually struggle so hard to get noticed and sell their art pieces. But then suddenly with NFTs coming onto the scene, they can change their tack a little bit and then suddenly have a massive marketplace, a massive following, and just explode. It's been absolutely fantastic to see. And some of the art pieces that are coming out are absolutely stunning as well. So it's good to actually see the artists come into the space, get the exposure, and then I guess earn a little bit more of a living out of it too. So that's been really cool.
Completely agree. And I think one thing in Cardano in particular, maybe it's because of, you know, the tools that we have now in terms of being able to mint collections fairly easily. I've seen some pretty incredible art on Cardano, and it just brings me a lot of joy to kind of like see that come to life.
So what has caught your eye? Is there a project in particular or artist that you really like that's standing out at the moment to you?
Yeah, I mean, so I've always been a big fan of kind of the highly digital art, as in like I don't place, you know, the fact that you do an oil painting over a 3D graphically rendered, you know, piece. So I like the kind of the intersection of technology and art, and then like bringing it to the extreme. Some cool ones that I am big fans of was like Machine Dreams, which is kind of like this kind of generative looking art, but it's like very high quality. I think they give out like 4K or 8K images of their pieces. And then there's some very underground new collections, like one from this artist named Atreyu, Atreyu, that we've been trying to help out. Yep. Oh, you've seen it? Yeah. Yep, and I'm just, you know, like, wow, I cannot believe that this is on Cardano now, right? And it's a style of art that I'm a huge fan of. Besides that, like, you know, obviously the metaverse ones are, in my opinion, just taking technology to another level. And I think that's super exciting. And I would say one more would be Threefold Bold. Is they've really taken the idea of immersive kind of art, almost experiential in a way, to another level. And I just like, I could spend hours just like looking at what they've done.
Yeah, I just gave me cold shivers just thinking about their stuff again. I don't know how I stumbled across their stuff. I just saw a tweet and I think a couple of images from one of their artists, and then I just, oh, what the hell, we'll just buy one, see what it's like. Everyone else is like, you know, talking about it, and I am absolutely amazed that immersion of experience from the piece, the drawing that I got. And the audio that was put together, and oh my god, there was a lot of thought behind all that. That was very well planned and very well creatively put together. I actually had them on a Twitter space about 6 hours ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're talking a little bit about how they got together and their collection. So it's really cool. Threefold Bold. If anyone hasn't checked that out yet,
check it out. Yeah.
Right, brilliant. So that's a couple of cool projects that you're after looking into as well. Now, in terms of your marketplace, smart contracts, absolutely fantastic. What is the experience like? Because the Cardano ecosystem, we're so used to essentially a vending machine sale for all of the NFTs that are going out there, and the whole marketplace thing, smart contracts, it wasn't our first exposure. And to be honest, NFTs on Cardano was my first experience as well. So OpenSea's, Rarible, All those other ones I hadn't seen before, and I've never interacted with a smart contract based marketplace until now when they're coming out on Cardano. So what is the experience like for a seller that is going through and listing a NFT on the marketplace?
Yeah, so again, all of this is kind of very new. Alonzo obviously just came out. But if you are using smart contracts on Genesis House, it's pretty simple. We, at the moment, only support Nami wallet, but basically it's a wallet that kind of gives you that kind of MetaMask-like experience if you've used OpenSea. So basically you just download a Chrome extension, you can create a wallet or you can recover one from a seed phrase. Then you can send assets to that Nami wallet. And basically you just at least on Genesis House, you log in, you press list on one of the assets that you hold, and Nami is basically going to ask you to sign a message, which basically proves that you are the owner of the wallet. And at that point, that's it. Like the asset is going to go into the smart contract, and if somebody decides to buy it, you'll get paid out immediately and you'll get notified.
Cool. Sounds simple. When you do the listing, does the asset leave your wallet at that point in time?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so it does leave your wallet at that point in time. That is certainly something that is kind of different between Ethereum and Cardano. So when you do list an asset, you do lose custody of it, but in a sort of trustless manner, because you can see the code that holds the asset, and you know what is going to cause it to kind of execute or trade on its own, but you do lose custody of the asset. It's really interesting because I do think there could be a way, if the competitors and the marketplaces all kind of work together more collaboratively, that we can come up with a standard by which you don't have to even lose custody of your asset. And I think that's super intriguing. Maybe down the road we can figure something out there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. It does make sense to me to need to, I guess, give over the control of that particular asset because it's in your wallet. And if the sale goes through, how would it leave your wallet without some sort of signing? So it didn't make sense to me if it's even possible. But yeah, from what you explained, it makes sense. In terms of the buyer's side, they would literally just go to the website, I'm assuming, see what they want to purchase, interact with the website with Nami, and the smart contract will execute everything else. Is that correct?
Yes, it's almost the exact same on the other side. The only thing is you will have to set collateral, and that is a kind of hiccup with a lot of people. So you will have to set collateral when you're interacting on the buy side. But it's fairly simple in Nami. You just hit the top right little circle button that represents your avatar, and you just hit set collateral, and you should be good to go from that point on.
Do you know why we need that collateral in the wallet?
Yeah, it's basically to cover for the fees in case the transaction fails, which should happen almost never. Which is a great thing about Cardano, but there are small little cases where it will happen here or there. So it's not impossible. So it's just insurance. And so if you would like to take out your collateral at the end after your transaction, you absolutely can. You'll just get your ADA back.
I was always wondering what that collateral was actually for, and why we had to deposit that 5 ADA in there to get it working. Okay, that totally makes sense. That's really cool. So in terms of marketing your platform, what's your approach there? I saw a little bit of negative tweets happening a little bit earlier this week, so I did want to touch on that as well. But what's your overall marketing strategy for the platform, and how are you going to get more creators and people using the platform in general?
Yeah, so kind of, I guess there's like 3 things that we do in terms of growth. The first is, and we kind of were talking about this, so we do also support escrow as a method of delivery. So I call it escrow, but basically that means you can sell and transact assets without using smart contracts. That's only a temporary solution, and it's the solution where most of the people who have been in the Cardano NFT space at least are kind of used to. So we have that going for us as like a way to continue to propel growth. So just to be clear, you can list on Genesis House with either an escrow listing or a smart contract listing, which means you can use any wallet really that you want. So the first one is making sure that escrow is tight. The second one is, getting involved in the community as much as possible, and really just trying to back our creators. So like being on the Twitter spaces, being on this, talking with artists, getting to know how they feel, and then just providing resources that they need. So I try to reach out to a couple artists every day usually and just say like, hey, especially if I really like their work, like Threefold, I will reach out and say, hey, really love your work. Would love to, want to have you guys list on Genesis House. But, if anything, you don't have to list with us. We can just give you some of these resources. And I think just doing a good favor early on is going to like pay dividends over time. So that's kind of the second approach. So first is like escrow, second is kind of community. The third part is just really focusing on the product at this point in time. We have a lot of really exciting features and developments coming along. So obviously we're working on offers pretty hard on our side, trying to get that out. So you would be able to basically say, I would pay this much for this NFT on our marketplace pretty soon enough. And I think we also have like merch lines coming out. So this is one that I'm get super jazzed up about, is like these creatives that we were talking about, like who cannot, especially if you are a creator who doesn't want to mint like a 10K collection. Like for me, I think a simple way for them to get a new revenue stream is by getting merch involved. And we'd love to see if there's a way that we can have you, you as a consumer who owns an NFT, basically own a t-shirt that's one of one. I think that would be super, super cool. And like, we're looking into how we can make that possible. And that would just basically provide a new revenue stream. So basically, just to recap, kind of, escrow, getting super involved in the community and supporting artists. And then the third part was just, some of our product features, I think, are going to kind of do the speaking for us. But it doesn't mean we won't be pushing as hard as we can on marketing. So at the beginning, I guess, when we first launched Genesis House, we've really only been live for a little over 2 months, which is kind of crazy to think about. When we first started out, we did think it was like super important that we kind of get the word out that like, hey, we're live and we have this thing. And in order to kind of get some sort of attraction, we were definitely trying to be aggressive on marketing as we can. We didn't really intention for any of it to be kind of considered like or perceived as like shilling or by any means. And we've been like super vocal about working together with really all the marketplaces. I've gone, tried to reach out to pretty much every other marketplace and say like, how can we work together? And we would never like speak poorly about another marketplace at all. But yeah, at this point, we've hit a certain like mass with our audience that I think our main focus is just making sure that the product works well and we're listening to our users and we're backing creators the same way we have been. And I think that's going to do a lot of the talking for us moving forward.
Now, one thing I didn't ask you about is royalties on the marketplace. Does Genesis House offer royalties?
Yeah, so we have built-in royalties. If you want to make sure, if you're an artist watching this, and if you absolutely want to make sure that you're going to get those royalties, just reach out to our customer support and we'll just manually add you and make sure that you get your royalties. We do it kind of on a case by case. So to be specific, there is a standard of metadata called CIP 0027, I believe, that specifies how you set royalties inside your NFT, inside your policy, that is. And we follow that and we'll try to automatically detect it. If you have minted that token, it's called the royalty token, and follow the standard. But if you really just want to ensure that you get your royalties, you can also just reach out to us, and in every single transaction, you will get paid the royalty amount that you've set.
Now, you talked about some of these features that you are going to be putting into the marketplace. Is there any more in the roadmap in general that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, so we have, there's some that are more secretive, and then there's some that are very public. So the merch one is one that I'm like super jazzed up about.
I'm really excited about the merch stuff as well.
That's so good to hear. I'm
yeah.
so excited.
I started my own merch store to sell stuff for the podcast as well. So if I could integrate our NFTs into it and have somewhere a better marketplace than my own website, that'd be really cool too. So merch, I'm really looking forward to. And if an artist with some really cool artwork, like if the muses of the multiverse get into it, yeah, I'm down. Yeah. So
that's gonna be merch. So cool.
Go for it.
And one thing that we've been thinking about with merch that like just talking about it gives me shivers, kind of like you did. Just like in the metaverse, at least, can we mint you an NFT for the merch that you did of the NFT? If that makes sense. So one, you can rock like your one of one T-shirt out physically, and then you can also rock it in the metaverse, which I think would be super cool and just gets me like, I don't know, just kind of blows my mind.
Crazy just to think about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that one I'm super excited about. Obviously, offers coming out is a big deal. Our name has been Genesis Auction House, but we haven't really supported auctions except for on Discord for a while. So like that's one that I think we should absolutely get on immediately. Those are really interesting to us. Another thing that we have been thinking about is like, can we let artists pretty much like host their own marketplace, kind of just using some of our own infrastructure? Can we, use your collections page, which looks great and you've kind of designed through us, and let you just take it on your own domain so that you can, buy and sell and, do things more privately with your loyal following. And that's one that I'm also, it's not concrete on the roadmap, but certainly something that I've been thinking about pretty in depth.
It's definitely something that a lot of artists will find useful because they're always trying to drive their users to somewhere, a place. So instead of just saying, oh yeah, just go to my Genesis House listing and work it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which can be hard. You got to do the search, you got to look for policy IDs and all sorts of other verification methods or whatever it might be. Just setting them to a URL, so much easier. So definitely really cool.
Definitely. And I think like it's actually, in true crypto kind of culture, it's much more decentralized if we can let other people kind of use our technology, kind of like Cardano, right? Use it for your own good instead of, relying on us.
So in terms of some of that code and anything that you're putting out there, and you also mentioned collaboration with other marketplaces, would you be providing any of your smart contracts or code or anything that you're developing as open source so that you can attract some of that collaboration? Yeah,
so some of the things that, our smart contracts are open source, so you can kind of check them out on, I think, huge shout out to Canonical LLC, by the way, who helps us a lot with some of the Haskell and the Plutus development. Our contracts are open source on their GitHub repositories, and we're probably going to have our own GitHub repositories, but it's just going to be a mirror of the Canonical repository. And so all of our contracts, at least most of them, should be completely open source. So can totally see another marketplace or another kind of product trying to figure out how to do a simple buy sell kind of transaction can absolutely use that. Another thing that we've done is really try to give out bots to people that need them. So artists, I know, for example, especially if they have a smaller collection, kind of want to do an auction just on their Discord server. That's something that we've done. Like if you are an artist and you have a loyal following, but you don't want to do an auction on our marketplace, we'll just give you an auction bot and you can just use it, and we'll give you the source code and you can host it yourself. So that's something else that we've been doing in terms of giving out kind of resources and helping the other people kind of build on top of what we've already built.
That's really nice. And if I can get those links to share, I'll add them into the show notes of the interview as well.
For sure.
So in terms of revenue for the marketplace, how does it make money? Like I'm assuming there's some sort of fees or something along the way. And if there are, what are the fees for the buyers and for the sellers?
Yeah, right now our fees are 2.5% per transaction. And by transaction here, we mean a buy or sell that happens. on our marketplace, and that's a 2.5% or a minimum of one ADA. And then obviously there's a fee that goes out to the creators that have royalties integrated in their collection, which we handle for you. But yeah, that's the main really revenue model for the marketplace itself. I think if we just kind of keep up and work hard to build a solid audience and get creators to really feel like, the Genesis House is, not just saying that they're just a marketplace, like they're really trying to help us. I think there's going to be a ton of new revenue streams, including like the merch ones or anything else. I think there's just so many options. And for us, it's just a matter of how do we focus on the ones that are the best for the ecosystem and for us as well. So yeah, that's the business model. Pretty straightforward. A 2.5% fee with a one minimum ADA fee.
Right. Cool. Easy. It totally makes sense. I think 2.5% is pretty much a standard in most marketplaces. Yeah. So it's a pretty set amount. Is that enough to pay for the website servers, the infrastructure is to keep it sustained? I'm just trying to work out because I'm not as experienced in the scalability of some of these websites. How is the infrastructure set up? How much does it cost you to run? Probably too detailed, but just to get an idea of like how it's set up. Is it like a React-based website, mostly static, like a Jamstack setup? What's the setup there? Just to get an idea of how much it costs to run and operate something like this.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, actually. So marketplace fees actually don't cover for that much, revenue unless you're processing really, really large amounts of volume a day. So it really won't work out unless we continue to grow at like a solid rate at the way we have been. But I'm not really scared of that in any sense. Just makes me think, what are the other revenue streams that we haven't tapped into, particularly around supporting creators. Our stack is pretty straightforward, actually. Like you said, we have a React front end. We use a standard RDBMS database, so Postgres in the back. We use Heroku to run our stack, so we deploy through Heroku and Netlify on the front end. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, just mostly JavaScript. I think really the costs of the operations really goes towards paying employees, or just contractors overall, more so than any of the technology itself. We're so lucky because like at this point in time, it costs like almost nothing to like get a business up and running. So definitely kind of blessed and like lucky to kind of be in that at this point in time, able to just get a server running on somebody else's infrastructure.
Yeah, that is a good aspect of it. But yeah, the employee costs are always the hardest part, especially if you're trying to hire more Haskell developers or Plutus pioneers into the ecosystem. It's they're a rare bunch at the moment.
Yeah, they are definitely a rare bunch and not easy to find.
So lastly, to round off this interview, what do you think the future of Cardano is? What will it look like in 1 year's time and further down the path at 10 years' time?
Yeah, so I think this year is probably just going to be focused around kind of developer activity. We're like really, really actually just at the beginning. Like, I know it's kind of like a meme at this point to say we're so early, but we really are, especially in kind of the dApp world. Where we're actually building applications. So I think for this year, we're just going to see kind of this explosion of like decentralized applications that come out that actually do great things for Cardano. And obviously, there's going to be some hiccups along the way where we're going to have to try to figure out how to prevent this or prevent that. Also, just try to get things to run more stably. But I think down the road, maybe in a few years from now, like, the possibilities are really, really, really endless. And I think that's kind of like the sense that everybody who's like very passionate about the crypto space, including yourself or myself or any of the Genesis House guys, it's just like there's huge possibilities, especially if we can get the costs of a single transaction down. I mean, we can imagine a world where like you could even like stream payments, right? Like literally just like the same way you stream data from Netflix, can you stream payments on an hourly wage, or not even have to go by hours, you could go by minute, by seconds. Things like that really do get me excited. I think in 10 years, wow, I can absolutely see, I think banks will have to probably adopt or figure out how to, become part of the movement. I think NFTs are a subculture and a revolution of their own. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the NFT space. One thing that does get me really excited about NFTs, I kind of categorize them separately because NFTs is kind of just a type of token, right?
Yep.
It's a thing in itself. So I think like in that, like I think we'll see, one great example was like watch authenticity, or for us, it would be merch authenticity through NFTs. I think we'll see NFTs like pretty much everywhere be used as like subscriptions to services. Instead of like getting a subscription, you get an NFT. I think in a way, NFTs are also like a built-in CRM. And CRM, I mean like customer relations management, because you can basically take a snapshot of the blockchain and see who are your holders across a 5-year span or something like that. And that kind of tells you who's the most like dedicated or, who's the most loyal fan. But yeah, I can see just the art world completely changing. And I think one thing that does get me excited is the idea of copyright, and like how can we use that to help promote the artists or the creators in whatever field, whether or not that be visual art or experiential art or audio. Can we track copyrights on the blockchain? That gets me really jazzed up just thinking about what can be done there.
It does sound like a really, really cool future there. It sounds really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And it's completely new territory. Like we've never had this potential before. And now I'm just, I don't even know what can happen over that long of a time span.
Stevie, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on here, learning a little bit more about Genesis House, your journey into the cryptocurrency space, and a lot more, actually quite a lot more about Genesis House and its future with merch. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this was a lot of fun. I always love getting to take a break from like working on code to getting to just chat with people. So appreciate you taking out the time and giving me a break.
Really hope you enjoyed this interview, and apologies for people who were waiting for this one. I had a lot of technical issues with the recording and the post-production and so forth and so forth. So sorry, apologies for anyone that was really waiting for this one and wanting to see it early. It just took a long time to edit. Now, if you do like this content, please make sure you give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, and click the notification bell, and you hear more great Cardano related content from me soon.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.